Hello, I am Susanna Ones from Avoinglam, and I'm going to talk about bringing your data to Wikilove's Living Heritage. Wikilove's Living Heritage is a wiki initiative that pays tribute to the 20th anniversary of the UNESCO 2003 Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. Living Heritage is the more human-friendly name for intangible cultural heritage. The global project initiated by Avoinglam in collaboration with the European Network of Focal Points for the UNESCO Convention. The project invites heritage communities, Wikimedia volunteers, safeguarding organizations and authorities around the world to document and share living heritage together during the festive year and continue the process in the years to come. The project makes living heritage visible through adding information about it on Wikimedia projects and by encouraging collaborative activities between Wikimedia affiliates and safeguarding organizations locally around the world. Here are some of the activities that have been done over the course of the year. This presentation is going to introduce how the project builds upon data. There are many sources of data: the living heritage list and inventories, the existing data on Wikimedia projects, and the data that the project itself produces. In the presentation, we'll focus on importing data about living heritage. So, what is the data about living heritage? Wikilove's Living Heritage gathers information about the heritage elements in the UNESCO lists and registers and the national inventories that contribute to them. The UNESCO lists in the order of magnitude are the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding, and the register of good safeguarding practices. The lists grow annually when proposals by the member states are accepted and new heritage elements are added. All elements on these lists already exist on Wikidata to date. The member states to the UNESCO Convention commit to safeguarding living heritage in their area and maintain an inventory of any kind as part of that. A public list of database of inventories does not exist, and this project has set out to gather information about the inventories and heritage elements they list and bring them to Wikidata. We are also supporting the inclusion of inventories and heritage elements beyond the UNESCO system. Some countries are not members. There are other significant repositories outside the UNESCO system, and many heritage elements worth recording are not listed in any inventory. This map here shows the status of the inventories and registers we have identified, as well as the amount of elements included in them that have been associated with Wikidata. I will walk you through how this data is presented on the project website. Data about the elements is displayed on the Wikilove's Living Heritage website. The lists are created with Listeria by making Sparkle queries to the data in Wikidata and using related images on Wikimedia Commons to illustrate the entries. The page Elements on UNESCO Lists displays the Wikidata items corresponding to the elements on the UNESCO lists and registers. It is important to note that this data is based on the information on Wikidata, which brings together different sources and may link to several lists and inventories in different countries. The names may also differ from the element names on UNESCO lists, and sometimes a cluster of Wikidata items are linked to the same UNESCO heritage element. The Inventories page lists all the inventories in different countries that have been added to Wikidata. Some of the inventories contain heritage elements, while others are still just inventory items without related elements. When an inventory is added to Wikidata, the entry is shown on the page. When the elements become available, it is possible to create a list page for that inventory. The elements can also be grouped by country. The country pages also display the elements anyone may have marked as living heritage. At the moment, only UNESCO member states are shown, but all locations will be considered in the future. There are further opportunities when the data becomes richer over time. We can, for example, create a calendar of events and list heritage elements by type. Secondly, all content can be translated to the user's language. Translations are based on Wikidata templates as well as translation pages. There is a how-to guide for instructions. Furthermore, the data makes it possible to create different actions for elements and lists. Every element display has links to the inventories it features on, as well as Wikimedia resources related to it. The Wikimedia Commons category for the element, a search for related images on Wikimedia Commons, a link to the Wikidata element to view and edit the data, a link to the Wikipedia article in the user's language if it exists. A button on each element links to an upload campaign on Wikimedia Commons. Using this link adds a specific expression of consent, meaning whether the person in the picture has been asked for permission or not, or whether the community whose heritage is being depicted has been asked for permission. The campaign categorizes the image with the respective categories for the heritage element, the inventory, and the country, and displays information about the element based on the data on Wikidata. The process is quite rough on the edges, and we welcome you to contribute to it. There are actions available for pages as well. An image may be uploaded from the country page, even if the correct element is not listed. For every list page, it is possible to access a tabernacle list to make edits. There's a simple list to add translations and an advanced list to make more advanced edits. Finally, we are introducing living heritage pages to gather information about the heritage elements across languages. We wish to develop the living heritage pages in the future to automatically display data from Wikidata, images from Wikimedia Commons, source references from across Wikipedias, and Wikisource publications that relate to the topic. Importing the items of an inventory is a process based on mutual understanding between the heritage communities whose data is being shared, the safeguarding organizations and authorities who maintain the information, and the Wikimedia affiliates who master the process of adding the data to Wikimedia projects. Individual Wikimedians who are interested in contributing should get together with their local affiliate to coordinate the work together. Check out the contacts page to get you started. Before you start importing, make sure you have considered some important aspects. Safeguarding organizations are faced with new approaches with open access and giving up control. We can help this process by advocating for the benefits and characteristics of the open ecosystem and the Wikimedia platforms. Living heritage deals with sometimes sensitive information, especially regarding traditional knowledge that goes beyond copyright. It is important that we respect the heritage community's will in deciding in which scope and pace to publicize information and materials about their heritage. These are the main properties that an entry of an inventory should contain. Using the dedicated values for instance of and maintained by Wiki project, associate the inventory with Wiki Loves Living Heritage and living heritage in general. Here's a list of key properties for heritage elements. It's important not to try to add the value of living heritage to any of the properties directly. An item is considered living heritage if it's either listed on one of the living heritage inventories or if it's nominated by anyone by adding the maintained by Wiki project statement. expressing the geographic location of the element is a delicate issue. The country of the inventory is non-problematic, but it's not exclusive. Other locations can be added based on sources. To add other locations, use one of the properties: country, country of origin, indigenous to, or culture. All of these properties are displayed on Wikilove's Living Heritage. Please always back up the statements with sources. This is the outline of an import process. You can either import all the elements at once or add elements one by one. Adding them all at once requires more technical skills. To prepare for recording all at once, first read the data about the elements from the local authority's webpage or database into spreadsheet formats such as Excel or CSV. Prepare the data following the guidelines so that they can be displayed on these pages and appear in searches. Please translate the names of the elements to English to help translating them to other languages. Match your data with existing data on Wikidata. The absolute preferred way is to use OpenRefine for reconciling and importing the items. You can also add items one by one using dedicated cradle forms for an inventory and an element. If an item already exists, you need to add new information to it manually in Wikidata. If you need help, you can contact one of the volunteers in the volunteer help team. Please join the volunteer team to help safeguarding organizations in this work if you're yourself skilled with this. There's a lot of data on Wikimedia projects that is waiting to be linked with the new elements you are importing. The other Wikimedia projects are going to be helpful in finding the existing Wikidata items. Wikipedia has list articles for many inventories in many languages. They have links to existing articles about the elements. As every Wikipedia article links to a Wikidata item, you can often find the one you're looking for this way. You can also find links inside the Wikipedia articles, traverse category trees and interwiki links to find existing articles and the corresponding Wikidata items. Wikimedia Commons has categories and images for elements, but they are not well organized according to the inventories. However, there's a lot to explore with images on Commons. They have a lot of information about heritage elements that have no articles or data about them. Other tricks you can use to find names of elements in other languages is to use translation plugins in your browser or generative AI to suggest terms for your items in different languages. There's even more untapped information on Wikimedia projects. Especially Wikisource is an underused resource that has a wealth of scanned books containing information about living heritage. They should be linked with the information about the elements and displayed on the Living Heritage pages. And finally, Wikilove's Living Heritage produces a lot of data itself. Primarily, this is events, data about events and blog posts. Event organizers can add events to the project through a cradle form. The upcoming activities are displayed on the main page and stored as an archive. They are listed in the metrics page, which can also calculate the number of organizers from the data in Wikidata. Blog posts are also created by adding Wikidata items through a cradle form, and they are similarly listed on the pages. So please check out the website and join the activities. There are easier and more difficult tasks, and there's no reason to be scared for getting too deep into it. You can do a little, or you can dive deep into it. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your attention. Hope to see you in the project. Thank you.